And I'll move to you now, Ben, is that all the analysis has been for the first week of the campaign. This has been difficult for Anastasia Palaszczuk. The net result is the LNP, according to Galaxy, going back by 4 points. Ben Oquist, you've been arguing for months that the Queensland government and indeed the Turnbull government and the Labor Party, both federally as well, should withdraw support for the Adani mine. Anastasia Palaszczuk has now done it, although under fairly murky circumstances, you'd have to say. Does this mean, do you think, the end of the campaign against Queensland Labor from opponents of the Adani mine? Will they now switch to Nichols, and will the Greens preference Labor in sufficient numbers to preserve the Palaszczuk government?
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating election, been a fascinating first week, and you're right, the Palaszczuk government has done what many have been arguing for, is to veto that potential billion-dollar federal government subsidy to the construction of the Adani railway line. That's a big breakthrough in the sense that the political consensus around this mine and whether it should get government support is over. Federal Labor's been arguing against the Northern Australia Infrastructure Facility loan, and now the Palaszczuk government is going to veto it. And I think there's a chance now, of course, though, for Palaszczuk to position that not as just as vetoing that loan, she still backs the mine, but to sell it as a win for other areas of the economy. That money is now freed up to be spent potentially on tourism infrastructure, health infrastructure. The Australian Institute had some polling out not so long ago asking the people of Queensland what they'd most like to see that money spent on, and coal infrastructure was way at the bottom of the list, only 11%. Many more people wanted it spent on health infrastructure, tourism infrastructure, renewables infrastructure, education infrastructure. So I think there's a chance, actually, as controversial as this decision has been over the last 2 days, for Labor to reposition itself and say, well, actually, we could come up with money that will be spent more wisely, better for the environment, of course, but better for jobs too. Remember, mining's very capital intensive and not labour intensive, and more popular. I mean, whatever your position on the Adani mine has been, there's been a clear majority of people at state, local and federal level opposed to the subsidies going to the mine. A big backlash in the local community of Townsville, diverting money to build the airport for Adani, the controversy over the NAIF loan. I think there'll be renewed pressure on Palaszczuk over the royalty holiday she's given to Adani. So I do think that that political consensus is now shattered over subsidies for this mine, and so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I actually go back, finish off here one step, to Peter Garrett, the Press Club, a couple of weeks ago, and he called for federal Labor to promise to rip up any NAIF loan to Adani. And I think that set the hairs running, that the kind of Labor Party was keen to get out of it. And obviously this first week of the campaign was dominated by Adani, and she was dogged by protesters, and they've found a way to get out of backing that NAIF loan, and I think could ultimately be a winner for her if she can show that the money could go to better things in Queensland.
We will certainly see over the next 3 weeks. We are out of time. Way too much